17%. And look at math, 4, 5, 6, and 11. 30% of our fourth graders were either at target or advanced in the DLM. And what we're beginning to do is just bridge and cross over and share resources and consultations between the general education and the special education programs, and this beautiful conversation that's taking place there. High school, we had 453 students take the AP exam. Last year we had 392. This year we had 453. The number of exams that we had was 804. Last year we had 681. The percentage of students with 3 or above was 74%. AP scholars, students who received scores of 3 or higher, we had 54 students. Last year we had 46. AP scholars with honors, last year we had 29, this year we had 41. AP scholar with distinction, last year we had 42, this year we had 47. So we are, it's just like I'm very proud of the work that we're doing. We're banging it out across the board.
And the AP is still a 3, 4, 5 score, right? 3,
Yes.
4, and 5, okay.
SAT, same thing here. We had 307 kids take SAT. Previous year we had 203. Essay, we had 112. We went down in the amount of students who took the essay. We only had 74, but it's not necessarily required, and that's why a lot of people are backing off of taking SAT for this year.
So when did they go back to the 1600 score from the 2400?
5 years ago.
5 years ago?
This is where they want to go to school. According to the students, the 307 that took the SAT, 18% or 51 of the students want to major in biological and biomedical sciences. That is 18% of 51 of the 307 students. Last year that was 24. That was still the number one major that they chose, but last year was 24 students. This time it's 51. Health professions and related clinical services, 45 students. Last year was 39 students, and it was the 5th thing that they wanted to do. This year that went up from being the 5th to the 2nd. Health management, marketing and related services, 35 students. Last year was 20, and it slipped down to 2. And just look at engineering. Engineering went from 32 students from 14 in the previous year.
Is the class of 2022 or the
Yes.
2023? This is the 2022
Yes.
class.
Sending institutions where they want their information to go. Of the 307 students from Piscataway High School who took the SAT, 159 designated that their score reports be sent to these institutions. The number one institution was Rutgers. 73%, 116 students chose Rutgers. The previous year was 89. NJIT, 43 students. Previous year was 25. And Seton Hall University was the 3rd university listed. This year 30 students wanted to go. Last year was ranked 9th in where they wanted to go. And it was 11 students. Now it's moved up to 30 students.
And these same students can duplicate. You can send them for free up to four universities every time you take the test.
Interventions. This is what we have to list, are just some of the things we're doing. District Learning Acceleration Guides, school and district PD and strategic plans. We're aligning all of our plans together so that we're all moving in the same direction in everything that we're doing. We have taken over, we have a new account with SEL4NewJersey.org. The state mandates that we use the CASEL 5 as the initiative for SEL, which is the CASEL will, they have the 5 components for social emotional learning. We just signed up for an account with them for a district account, and we're integrating SEL for New Jersey. That has been integrated in our SEL across the district. Vertical articulation of curriculum, that's where we're looking at making skills go from in a vertical way, especially in those transition grades. Use of district adaptive supplemental technology resources, Star Renaissance and all of these things. I was looking at some Star Renaissance adaptive math tests today. Disaggregate local assessment data and inform instructional needs. Building-based in-person and virtual tutorial programs, differentiate instruction in all subjects, homogeneous small groups, and allocate district staff and resources, content coaches, and counselors to provide intervention strategies. These are some of the things that we're doing.
Dr.
And
I'm sorry.
yes.
Just remind me again, the virtual tutorial program, I think we voted on it or we talked about it, and it was one of those ones where, the students can log on in the evening and they have access. What's the name of that program again?
You mean the actual program that they can use?
Program.
We were using Edmentum to do that.
I'm sorry?
Edmentum.
Edmentum.
But what is happening now is that we have in-person and virtual. Some of the teachers are signing up. We wanted to go totally in-person tutorial programs, but we found out that we were not able to go there because for multiple reasons. We found that we could just reach a larger audience if we continue to just do a hybrid approach. Some teachers wanted to do virtual, some teachers wanted to do, and so, we learned lessons from COVID, so why do away with things that we learned? And so we find that by doing a hybrid method of tutorial like that, then we're able to reach a broader audience. And we're able to get a more diverse teaching staff who's willing to do those things, who ordinarily may not be able to do them. So we thank our teachers for the work that they're doing. We really celebrate our teachers for the hard work that they've done. They are really diving down, rolling up their sleeves, and you can see in this report tonight, you can see the fruits of their labor. And so I just want to give a shout out to them and everyone who has worked so hard to just make sure that our students perform well. And we have clamored and we have clobbered the state, as we always do.
Dr. Baskerville, is this an overall K through 12, these various types of intervention, or do we have targeted response to intervention at each particular?
Yes, RTI, the school district is required by law to have an intervention and referral services model. So our intervention and referral services model is RTI, response to intervention. Right. Where we do social, behavioral, and academic. So we do 3 different things using RTI. It's from K to 12.
K to 12.
And we have what is called a catalog of interventions that we have, Courtney it has taken us 3 years to almost get that together too, where we actually have a catalog of interventions that we can use to just essentially match deficits. Instead of looking for interventions, we already have them. And so it gives teachers more of a leeway to just look for things that we already have. So we have the interventions, we use RTI, we house it and link it, and we house it in Google Docs and Google Forms. We keep anecdotal notes, we keep progress monitoring and link it, and so we're doing very well with RTI.
Just a quick thought. I know that we're always short-staffed. That's just the nature of the beast this year. But something to think about. I know buildings have to pull where they need to do coverage. But I know when you're talking about interventionists who are sometimes pulled to cover, then our students are not getting the intervention that they need in some of those pullouts because teachers might be used to cover as substitutes. So just something to keep in mind when we're looking to, build up some of that intervention strategies. When you're removing interventionists from positions of doing that kind of instruction, you're impacting the ability to do what you need to show improvement and growth with those students.
100%.
So just a thought, and I know
100%. And that's one of the things, our support specialists are kind of the last ones on the list to be pulled.
I know.
And the reason why we do that is because they have our most fragile learners. And so 100% totally agree. And lastly, we know that there are other things that we do well and achieve other than just in academics. And so, and that is a recent football picture there too as well.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Very thorough.
Kudos to you because Dr. Baskerville, over the time that I've been on it, on the board, the Department of Education changes its mind about every 6 months on what type of thing you're supposed to be doing. And for any moment in time for you to take all of this information and put it together so that we can understand it, much appreciated.
Thank you, sir.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Baskerville. Thank you, Superintendent Ranelli. We will now keep moving on the agenda. We are now on item 9, which is personnel and labor relations. Ms. Scotto?
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through D be approved as presented.
Second.
Mr. Board Secretary, please read the roll.
Mrs. Corodino?
Yes, A through C, abstain for D.
Mrs. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Laughlin?
Yes.
Ms. Scotto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Item 10, which is committee reports. Since our last meeting in October, there have been 2 committees that have met. The Fiscal Plannings and Operations Committee met, as well as the Culture, Climate, and Community Relations Committee. The first to report would be the fiscal, and I'm going to call upon Ms. Lane to report.
Thank you, Dr. Connors. The Fiscal Planning and Operations Committee met on Wednesday, November the 2nd, 2022, to discuss capital projects, the Energy Savings Improvement Program, food services, business office updates, and more. The legislative update: the New Jersey Association of School Business Officials will continue to support Bill S. 3202, which will expand the pool of available drivers for vans with 9 passengers or fewer. Facility capital projects: the Piscataway High School and Middle School auditoriums and PHS Family Consumer Science Room project has been completed. The HVAC upgrade number 1: the majority of the unit ventilators arrived, with 4 outstanding units remaining for Randolphville. Installation began in the media centers. HVAC upgrade number 2: the bid was released on Tuesday, November the 1st, and a walkthrough for interested contractors will take place on November the 8th. Mr. Oliveira updated the committee on progress on the 5-year capital project plan. For the Energy Savings Improvement Program, known as ESIP, the solar PPA installation at Eisenhower and King Schools is scheduled to be completed by November the 10th. The alternate installation approach was approved for Arbor, and the contractor is scheduling the work. The Quibbletown modified solar proposal was received and is under review. For Honeywell projects, LED lighting work is nearly complete. Work on boilers, destratification fans, water conservation measures, and transformers is ongoing. Code generation equipment will be installed at PHS on November the 10th. Honeywell is preparing cost estimates to consider additional projects to utilize the remaining funds. For transportation, the district did not receive the U.S. EPA electric bus grant. David, I want to thank you very much for your efforts in that. It's something that you know I'm very passionate about, but we'll keep moving forward. And there's a lot of information that we gathered while we were at workshop over the last week, and thank you very much for that. We'll be sure to pass it along, and again, we appreciate your efforts. For food services, meetings were held at all 3 middle schools to hear student feedback on preferred menu items and fruit vegetable diversity. Improvements in menu messaging was a common theme, and I know we discussed that at last night's meeting, and ways that we can tout and make the food offerings and menu items more available. So thank you. For the business office, health benefits, stop-loss reimbursement data for the first 3 months of the school year is still being compiled, but is expected to have a positive effect on 2022-2023 expenditures. The district is considering a supplemental program to help address musculoskeletal expenses. And I know when we reviewed that yesterday, to Dr. Baskerville's points on online learning and hybrid models, there's some great work that's being done there, and an offering where folks can take advantage of some physiotherapy models through Zoom, which is excellent. The district auctioned 16 buses damaged in Hurricane Ida, earning approximately $65,000, and kudos to you, David, for that. By way of Gov Deals, we were able to secure some great return on that there, as opposed to any other outlets that we looked into. And Mr. Oliveira discussed the M1 and comprehensive maintenance plan included on the board meeting agenda. That concludes the fiscal planning and operations report.
Now, as I chair the fiscal and do not want to do a lot of talking, that's why I asked you to read the report. The next committee was the Cultural Climate Community Relations Committee, which is chaired by Ms. Lane, so she will also give that report.
All right, thank you, Dr. Connors. proudly chairing the Culture, Climate, and Community Relations Committee since my first term, and I'm very passionate about this committee. It's a great opportunity to meet with our community and hear from them at large about the goals that we're very passionate about as a district, and those are positive messaging, community partnerships, and wellness services. That committee met on Tuesday, October the 18th, and the committee set and approved 3 goals for 2022-2023 school year. Goal number 1 is positive messaging. This continues to be a fantastic initiative and goal where we foster community engagement, a sense of history, wellness, and to support the character education programs in our schools to continue to build a positive school climate. Some areas of focus will be marquee messaging, student-to-student mentoring messages, and positive marketing for our schools. Goal number 2 is community partnerships, building community partnerships in collaboration with new departments within Rutgers University to provide resources and support to our school communities. Ms. Pongratz reported on the continued relationships with Rutgers Division of Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement, known as DICE, the Business School, Rutgers Future Scholars Program, and the partnership with Jersey Cares. And also, I know we've had a great partnership, and we see some benefits for the Black Engineers group the affinity group out of Rutgers as well. So a lot of great work being done there, and we thank Rutgers University for their partnership. And goal number 3 is our wellness services. That's conducting community outreach to highlight wellness services found within our school and local community to highlight supports available to our families. Some areas of focus are under review for school start times and a parent workshop to be developed by the Haven at Piscataway High School. And a little bit more about school start times. I had the opportunity while we were at workshop in Atlantic City to attend one of the workshop sessions that was dedicated to later school start times and the proposed benefits thereof. A number of superintendents from the likes of Milburn, Hamilton Township, I believe High Point, and there was one other superintendent that had attended, as well as Dr. Mandelbaum, a leading pediatrician in the state, to speak on what they are proposing as the benefits of later school start times. So that's an initiative that is falling under our goal now of wellness services, and Ms. Pongratz is looking into that as we move forward. That concludes our CCC.
Yeah, and if I make thank you, Ms. Lane. If I can comment on the later school start times, is that it's also very political topic. As I said on the legislative committee of the New Jersey School Boards Association, our latest committee meeting, we had the Speaker of the Assembly, Coughlin, and it is something that is being looked at, and it's something that is coming down the pike, and Piscataway wants to take a really fair look at it because of all of the implications that something like, and it's just high school at this particular point, of starting a high school at 9 a.m. and then all the things that will happen, after school, and also being synchronized with other school districts, because sports will be affected, activities will be affected, and this is one of those examples where the mission of the New Jersey School Board's Legislative Committee is to make sure that the legislatures are not putting upon the local school districts unfunded mandates. It's got to work the other way, where the local school districts are giving feedback to the legislators so that they make legislation that is warranted and based on information and based on pilot studies that they've done. So we had to find a place for this discussion, and we found it in the culture and climate and the wellness, because of the fact that its biggest selling point is that it affects the students starting in a later time where they're not as sleepy at 7 o'clock in the morning when you're going off to high school. And you couple that with the other initiative that they're pushing in the legislature, which is electric buses. And I joke with people, I say, you get a vision now across New Jersey. The vision really 2024 is going to be high school kids arriving at high schools at 9 a.m., later start time, on electric buses. So that's the direction they're going in, and so that's why we have to make sure that we're talking about it. Just a comment about committees. We are a board of committees. If there's anyone out there that's listening to this at a later time or listening to it now, we have public members. We have an application online. If you want to be involved and be engaged in any one of these topics, put an application in, and we will get you on a committee, and so you can find out about it. So that's the committee report. Does anybody have any comments, questions? All right. Our next item on the agenda is item 11, which is approval of minutes. Mr. Laughlin.
Be it resolved that the following minutes be approved as submitted. Business meeting, October 13th, 2022. Executive session, October 13th, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
The next item on the agenda is item 12, public comments from the floor. Is there anyone out there that wants to address the board? Okay.
No, we have one.
Okay, then, before you do that, I have to read this now. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and school matters of community interest. In support of this position, the law establishes a period of public comment at every board meeting. Individuals wishing to speak must state their name and municipality. Comments are limited to 3 minutes duration, but an individual may speak a second time after all others who wish to speak on the topic have been heard. The board may require that individuals register to speak prior to the beginning of the meeting. Participants may submit written materials in support of their position. All statements and or questions shall be directed to the presiding officer, and no participant may address or question board members individually. All speakers are requested to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy rights of others whose legal rights may be affected. Please note, while it is not the board's intention to stifle comment on matters of legitimate concern to the school community, the public should be aware that if their statements violate the rights of others under the law governing defamation or invasion of privacy, they may face personal liability to the injured party. If speakers are uncertain of the legal ramifications of their comments, the board urges them to seek guidance before from their own legal advisor. So, it's yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I just have a general question. So I've been researching reports and stuff about the effects of COVID in the school districts, and I was
Sorry,
just,
you can finish. Can you just give me your name and
oh, I'm sorry,
municipality?
Kirsten with Stanley, and I'm from Freehold Township, New Jersey.
Kirsten, and the last name, I'm sorry?
With Stanley. Do you need me to spell it?
Yeah, please.
KIERSTENWITHSTLEY.